Hello, my friends. If you are catching me live, I am late. I am sorry. Zoom decided that I needed to update my Zoom now. Okay. I love Zoom. Okay. I love, love, love Zoom. So I am not going to get mad. Okay. Let me just, now I can mute myself. Okay. So my apologies for being late. I hope that you can see me. If you're live, let me know that you're here so I can say hi back. So you guys know if you've been around, if you're new to me, welcome, hi. And I've been talking a lot about schedules, and honestly, like I used to have I'm just realizing I'm a little bit tall. I used to have like a time management issue. I am self-diagnosed ADHD, and I'm pretty clear that I have it. And I used to really struggle with time. And so I kind of, every time I talk about schedules and that kind of thing, I always a little bit like the old me is laughing at the new me, because it's a little bit like out of character for the old me to talk about it. But it's also why the new me, or the now me, current me, has to talk about it, because managing your time, or how you look at your time, how you structure your offers, how you set up your life, because it's not just your business, it's how you set up your life. I'm so big on helping people to create businesses that actually serve the way that they are thriving in the world. And that means serving your life and your business and your clients and your creativity and your fulfillment and your impact, right? So it's all of that. It's not just a one element thing. So anyway, I just always like, me and me are having a little laugh at the fact that I'm still talking about scheduling, but I'm not going to stop. And it's something that so many of my clients kind of like, when we start to talk about it, it's like, this is so boring. Like, let's go back to mindset stuff. But there's so much mindset wrapped up in how we manage our time. And I believe that like, we can say that we have certain priorities until the cows come home, but our actual priorities, or our mindset around what we believe we are allowed to set priorities around, are reflected in our schedule. So if you are overworked, if you are, I always use moms as an example. I'm not a mom, but I help a lot of moms manage their schedule. And like, if your kids are your number one priority, but you're missing every single swim meet or whatever because you have a difficult client that keeps calling you, like, you have the choice and the control over that situation. It's not the client's fault, right? You're tough love, but like, your priorities may actually be your children, but you're not executing your life accordingly. And when we aren't doing that, there's usually something going on in our mindset that keeps us stuck in that space of, I have to serve others before I serve myself, or whatever it is. I digress. So what I'm actually talking about today, yes, it's related to schedule, but it's more related to, how do you set up your business and your life, but it's really about your business, to enable your life and not the other way around. And so I'm using travel as the example, but I've been having a lot of conversations lately. So I help my client. I've been helping my clients with schedules for years, and now I find myself in the middle of a transition of my own schedule. I feel that I talked about this a little bit last week. I feel that my mind, body, and soul, I know that my mind, body, and soul are demanding that I change my schedule. So I'm listening, and I'm taking, if you watched last week, I'm taking a bunch of time off for the next month. I'm also taking a lot of unscheduled time where I might work, I might not. I've got a lot of creative projects going on. I've got a lot of things that I'll be sharing with you over the next 1 to 6 months around what I'm building. And in order to do all of that, I had to take a step back from things like posting on social media every week. I gave my whole team the month off. Like, we've done everything differently. So if you're a rule breaker like me, if you're a rebel, sorry guys, I am not feeling 100%. I was sick a few days ago, and I am coming back. So bear with me on my energy levels, and you will watch me drink a lot of water. Anyway, I'm feeling much better. I'm feeling normal. I'm still getting my energy back. Man, I'm tangenting today. Okay, so where did I want to go with this? I don't know what I was saying. Oh, I'm changing my own creative. I'm setting up what I'm now calling my creative schedule. And I've gotten really creative at managing my own schedule over the years, but it's something that I help my clients do. And the reason that we're talking about it today is because all of a sudden I keep having more and more and more and more conversations with people about their schedule. I'm meeting, and part of it is because I'm meeting more and more people who are digital nomads, travelers. I'm just sort of, for some reason, attracting that next level. Those are the people that I keep talking to. And they're the people I've been talking to and meeting for years, because I have sort of always lived in that space as a big travel and adventure bug. But I digress again. My point is, sorry guys, I really am not 100%, but I really want to talk about this with you today. My point is, when you set up your schedule to support your, I keep talking to people saying, like, you know, I started my business to be able to do all the things that we were sold into when we started online businesses, like time freedom, money freedom. I'm going to sit on the beach and, like, you know, paint my toenails while the money rolls in and I don't have to do anything. Like, yes and no, right? There's elements of truth to that, and there's elements of not truth to that. And even the elements of truth to that require some setup. So it's not magic, it's not pretend, it's not bullshit, but it can be, I think, fantasized a little bit. But I keep talking to people who say, especially now that COVID is shifting and our ability to travel is much greater, even than it was a year ago. And I'm making my own travel plans for next year, and keep talking to people telling me, Laura, like, I built this business so that I could travel, and I'm either not traveling, and part of that's COVID, but I'm not traveling the way that I thought I would or said I would, because I feel chained to my business, to my clients, to putting social media out every day, to whatever it is that you feel chained to responding, that you feel like you need to continue responding to. Or they're traveling and they're taking their work with them. Not that that's a problem, but they're taking their work with them to the point where they're not able to enjoy where they are to the fullest extent. So I think what's the conversation I want to have today, I have a lot to say about this topic, and I'm only going to cover 2 main points today. But I really want to drive this point home, because I think we get in our own way when we create our own limitations. We get in our own way when we decide that we can't do something. And if you're not willing to hold boundaries with your clients or set expectations, or sadly, new expectations, which are even harder to set, new boundaries, new expectations, then it's going to be really hard for you to do what you want to do. And I feel like one of the reasons I've chosen to work with entrepreneurs is because I feel so passionate about people who are doing work that they love. Because I think if you're doing work you love, if you're doing work in your zone of genius, if you're serving the world in the way that only you can, like, we need that. We need you. We need your talent. We need your gifts. We need your impact on the world to create something new, to elevate everybody, to help people. Like, we're all in this together. And if you burn out of that magic thing that you have, that you are, like, I'm sorry, that's just not an option I'm willing to sit with. So in order to keep you engaged, in order to keep you in your zone of genius, which means you're continually creating impact in the world in the way that only you can, that means that you've also got to be honoring and owning the part of you that is outside of work too, if you are wanting to travel. And again, I started to say this earlier and I got distracted, but if you're not a travel person, insert here whatever it is that is important to you in your personal life outside of work. What is it that you want to spend your time outside of work doing? What's driving you? If you had a magic wand, and you could do anything with your time and still do work in your business and still be fulfilled and still make good money, like if you could have all the like practical elements of things, what would you be doing more of? Where would you be spending your free time? If money were no object, if logistics were no object, if you could time travel, if you could not time travel, teleport, right? If I could teleport, I would like have dinner with my sister's kids on a regular basis after school, right? So that tells me that it's important to me to make sure that I get back to North Carolina and see my family, which I'm doing next week. So if it's not travel, insert your thing here. And you may have most of us have more than one thing, but insert your thing, because it doesn't matter if you're a travel person. It's just, that's the example I'm using today. So there's two main points that I want to cover today. Number one, how are you creating dependency around your relationships with your clients or your business if you have a product, right? However you have your business set up, how are you creating that dependency? And there's nothing wrong with having a healthy interchange. That's what we as service providers are doing, right? I give you a coaching session, you respond back to me and you tell me how that was, and we together create results in your business, right? So there's a feedback loop to that. And that's what we do. And if I told my clients that I was available like a suicide hotline, right? If I acted like the suicide hotline to my clients, and any time that they were, oh gosh, I'm having this thought, like maybe I should change my pricing, or oh gosh, like I had a difficult conversation with a client, it's really stressing me out, I better call Laura. And if I just picked up the phone, right? There's no judgment here if that's how you set up your business, but that doesn't work for me and support my ability to thrive. It also doesn't work for me in the way that I coach my clients, because so much of my model is built on empowerment. So if I'm empowering my clients to just call me every time they have a problem, how am I building their ability to live their lives and run their businesses better, and to be able to leave me and come back or go on? Like, you can't work with me forever and ever and ever, right? Some clients I feel like they have, and that's not wrong either, but like there's a level of interdependency or appropriate levels of healthy relationships versus some sort of codependency where my clients need me in order to be able to make a business decision, right? Like, no, my clients make all their own business decisions. They just bring the ones they want help with to me, and we talk about it together, but it's still ultimately their decision, right? So I do offer support for my clients in between sessions, but it's in a Basecamp app where we message back and forth. I have my own boundaries around my time and how I manage that, so that I can feel that I'm serving them in between sessions, but I have control and power over my own how quickly I respond. I set expectations with my clients around that, and I have control of my own schedule, right? So how are you building whatever it is in your business that makes you feel that you can't take time off? Like, a lot of my clients have taken a significant amount of time off this summer, mainly because they have kids. That's their priority. Run your business, create a business, that's the word I'm looking for, structure your business around your kids' schedule, not the other way around. I'm taking the month of February off to travel, I think, to Portugal. Portugal is the current thinking, but I am taking the month off, that's for sure. So how do I support my one-on-one coaching clients who meet with me 2 to 3 times a month? How do I support them in that, right? I've recreated my programs to support my ability to take that time off, just like I allow my clients to take that time off, right? allow my clients to take time. I coach my clients to take that time off. So setting expectations with your clients, setting boundaries with your clients and your time is, at the end of the day, so important. And then it's also about what's your relationship to hard work. And if you think that you have to engage in some version of, I love hard work when I'm doing something that I love, then hard work isn't hard. I think we need a new word for that. But if you have a relationship to hard work that tells you that your worthiness is built into the amount of hours that you work, or the number of people that need you, or how much people need you, right? If you have a bunch of clients calling you and telling you, calling, messaging, whatever, telling you that they need you in some way, shape, or form, that's your indication, especially if you're feeling like obligated. That's your indication that like it's time to set some, oh God, I'm getting twisted. It's time to set some healthier boundaries and expectations. If you need some help with that, I'd love to support you in that. So dependency is a thing, right? So if you want to build a schedule that supports you in your ability to travel, is my thing, take time off in the summer as an example with your kids. A lot of my clients take the month of December off, or most of the month of December off. I usually take at least a couple of weeks off in December, right? Which leads me to, I think it's really important to look at your business and set up either intentionally and plan ahead, or respond, as you need to. Set yourself up and recognize that there are seasons. Okay, just like we're coming out of a season right now. It's the end of the summer. Kids are going back to school. Hopefully the weather will get cooler. Things are shifting, right? People start to like kick into a different level of gear in the fall. Just like there are seasons with nature, there are already built-in seasons into most of our culture anyway, right? And I like to use December and the summer as an example of seasons, but create your own seasons in your business and acknowledge when there are seasons. Hi, Tanisha, it's so good to have you here, my dear. So acknowledge that you have seasons in your business, or create those seasons in your business by design, intentionally, so that you can do a little more of something during one season and a little less of it during another, right? That's not wrong. And so I really want to encourage you. I did a live last December, and I'll probably revive some version of this year, around like, why are you treating December like a normal month, right? Like, we don't have to treat December like a normal month if we're taking time off, right? Are you going to push yourself and your team to generate the same amount of like social media content, or to serve the same number of client hours that you would on a normal month when everybody's taking 2 weeks off? So that means you're going to take a whole month of work and squish it into 2. And then, yeah, you damn well are going to need those 2 weeks off, because you just wore yourself out, right? So using December as an example, using, for me, my month of travel in February as an example, how can you decide and create and design and get creative? This is all about getting creative. I can't tell you how to manage your own schedule, right? Every single business is different. But if you look at these chunks of time as seasons, then you can say, okay, great, what's the most important priority in this season? And how can I manage the other stuff in a different season, or do a little less of this and a little more of that, right? Just almost like you're cooking a recipe. Like, ooh, today we're going to make this with extra spice, right? And tomorrow we might make it a little milder, right? Because that's just what we're in the mood for. That's just what works for us right now. And so how can you look at your business as seasons throughout the year, throughout the quarter, whatever makes sense for you? And so I want to give you a couple of creative examples, and these are things that I've seen, things that I've helped my clients do, things that I've created for myself, sort of a hodgepodge of a bunch of different ideas. These are by no means all of the ideas in the world. And again, we're not going to be able to cover all of the elements of creating your schedule today. And I think it's really important to make sure that you're having a healthy relationship with dependency, hard work with your clients, that you have appropriate expectations, so that and again, maybe you have some sort of service where your clients do need you. Great. When can you create space with a backup or a time off so that you do get that space, right? So it depends on your business model, depends on who you're serving, right? If you're like a home healthcare worker, for example, I don't know why that just popped into my head. That's a different scenario. You probably need time off, right? Off. But if you're looking at your business in terms of seasons, here's just a few examples, and hopefully this just sparks your creativity. So for me, I'm taking the month of February off. I'm still playing with it. I'm either gonna let everybody have a single session. I'll either be available for like 1 week so that everybody can get a session in so that we don't go a whole month without coaching. Or I'll provide some sort of like touch point during the month where I'll be available on Basecamp to support my clients, or I might just take the whole month off. I'm still playing around with exactly what that's going to look like, but it's going to be an either off or a part-time schedule. And I'm setting expectations with my clients about that now. No problems. So getting clear on like, okay, so maybe in February, I'm going to do minimal to no client service. But I might, I don't know, hop on a speaking, because if I'm in Portugal, like I have a time zone issue, right? So that's the other piece of it. Maybe I'll do a couple of speaking events and leave it at that. Maybe I'll do some, just leave my calendar open a few places for some discovery calls so that I can keep my marketing pipeline open, right? I've got a couple of other creative projects that I already want to work on during that time. And then I'm going to take the time off to enjoy Portugal and to wander around, right? And to have some unscheduled time. So that's going to be a different season for me. And it's fine. I can set an expectation with my clients. I can support them and really model that too. Like this really works for my business because I can model that for my clients. But either way, you can do this. You just have to get creative. So how can you set, so that's one example. Was I going to say something else about that? Yeah. So we're still deciding like, what is February social media going to look like? So those are the kinds of things that we have to decide, but that's going to be a season where we're going to recreate sort of how we do business that month. And then just set everything up and decide in advance, are we going to work a little, like, am I going to give clients a few more extra hours of my time in January and in March to accommodate for that? Yeah, probably, maybe. I have to figure that out. But setting that up, that's just not a season for me of heavy client service. And we just get to let that be okay. Because part of what makes me a good coach, part of what makes you good at what you do, is spending time in your joy and your fulfillment in what lights you up outside of what you do. I'm a better coach when I take time off. I know my friends who are moms always tell me I'm a better mom when I like get a minute a night with the girls, or a day with the spa, or a minute to myself where there's flipping nobody in my house. You're better at serving others when you take care of you. And the way to build a sustainable business that lights you the F up is to also take time away from it, to also pull back, take moments of, I've been spending this whole month in part-time mode. Okay. The other thing that I like to, the other idea that I've seen is like this idea of like somebody being completely on work and completely off work. So as to use my example, maybe I work full time in January and March, and I'm completely off, and I do literally nothing for work in February, right? There's a lot of people that have like an all on and an all off button, and that really works for their business. And sometimes, and I want to get really clear, I'm actually, like, this is an important, if you're having a hard time just taking like a week off, this conversation hopefully will support you too. But what I'm talking about is you don't have to have a 9-to-5 schedule if you work for yourself. You don't have to have a 9-to-5 schedule if you don't want to. You don't have to work 11.5 weeks out of the year like we do in the United States in corporate. I used to have over time I got like a month off, but when I first started in the corporate world, when I was 22, I had 2 weeks off the whole year. Europe does a much better job. So kids at school, teachers, right? They are on August through June, depending on the school system, and they are off during the summer, right? What works for you? What season can you create in your business versus just running full force? The other thing that I really like is I don't have a lot of clients that engage in big launches, but that's another sort of model to think about. Like, even if you're not a coach that does launches, a lot of people, I think, are clear about that general sort of strategy and that general business model set around like launching a group program or launching something that you enroll people into once, twice, 3 times a year. So that structure may not work for you, but what if you were just like that concept of seasons? What if you were to think about your business in terms of, when am I launching and when am I not launching? That might be, depending on the business model, that might be a different way, a way to kind of like spark your brain power around like, oh, okay, what if we just spend that first, I'm going to make this up, the first quarter of the year, like getting all like, the top priority after client service is getting all of our marketing set. One of my clients writes her content out like freaking 6 months in advance, right? Because that's what feels good to her. She wants that done and off her plate, and she spends time in creativity mode. She churns out a bunch of stuff, and then she frees herself up from that during the other seasons in her business. So whatever it is for you, how can you like launch something and then allow that to serve you over other periods of time during the year? I talked about this also, like the on and off switch. And then you can also have like a full-time, part-time, or off sort of mode, right? So if that's your season, okay, I'm just like, for example, for me right now, I'm working part-time this month. That's what has worked great for me right now. That's what I needed to do for my business, for my life, for my family, for my sanity, for my creativity. I'm working part-time. Slight tangent. I just want to say, this is not lost on me that I knew I needed to take some time off. And I don't know if you guys ever have this, but like, I think this is a pretty common trend when you're going. I didn't realize I was going at full speed for as long as I was, mainly because I had not had the opportunity to hadn't taken the opportunity to build travel into my schedule. And I didn't realize I was running at the speed that I was, which is why I pulled back for this month. And I used to do this, the quintessential, I think, example of like what it feels like when you take time off and you needed it to yesterday is like college exams. I remember I would always like study my butt off for exams. I was definitely like the procrastinator. So I was like finishing everything up at the last minute, bust my ass, study. Also the timing of the year, right? The seasons were getting, weather was getting colder. And then the minute I got home from college to hang out with my family and my friends at home and exams were done and that full on relief, what happened? I got sick. I was always sick during Christmas vacation because I wore myself out. And when my body finally had the ability to like let go, then I got sick. Right. And I did that earlier. I was sick this weekend. Totally fine. I'm fine. No big deal. It's not COVID. I'm fine. But it's not lost on me when that I was like, oh, I need some time off. I better pull back. Ooh, I better pull back a little more than I think. I really need some space. And then I got sick. That is my validation for me and my body. And I know there are those of you out there that have the same thing, right? So how can you take my advice and don't do as I did this summer and recognize when your body is telling you to slow down, recognize when it's saying like, hang on, time out, or part-time, or a few days off, right? There's lots of creative ways to do that. It doesn't have to mean like I'm either working 40 hours a week or I'm off for 3 weeks, right? Find your hybrid. For me, it's part-time this month. Next week, I'm going to take some actual time off. but I'm sort of making this month up as I go based on what I need. Giving myself that freedom, setting those expectations with my clients, empowering them to make the same decisions. And then the other example I want to share is something that I have done. I'm not doing now, actually. I gave my team the whole month off, but one of the things that, God, I've had a team now for almost 2 years. And one of the things that we've always set up when possible, it's not always perfect because everybody on my team is a freelancer, but what we have always done, I think, a really good job of, thank you to my team, past, present, and future, is staggering time off or tag teaming on things. So like my graphics person is out for 2 weeks, my other person is able to jump in and pinch hit on graphics for 2 weeks. No big deal. That means my graphics person doesn't have to do a shit ton of work before she leaves on vacation or to catch up. Things just keep going, right? Or maybe she does a little bit in advance and she shows us where she draws the line, somebody else picks it up, everybody's fine, right? So there's also ways, like if you were to take a month off, if you were to take a significant period of time off, is there a way for you to give your team some time off before that time period so that they're on full time, or even a little more than full time if you're setting up expectations on workloads and schedules in advance? Maybe they can even give you a few extra hours that month. That might support your business in running behind the scenes in the way that it always does, so that you're off and maybe nobody misses a beat. Full permission to miss a beat. If you want, again, as I said last week, I'm taking the month off of social media. Like, we're posting a little bit. Obviously, I'm here live every week, but I'm not committing to posting every day like I used to, because I just decided to give myself that time off so that myself, my team, my creativity, so that we could focus on some other things. So again, staggering team schedules is another thing. All of this is to say, I want to get back to this concept of travel, but it's not, again, it's not even about travel. This is about building your business around your life and not the other way around. And what I find so many of my clients that I used to work with a lot of people building their businesses. And now I find that I'm helping people more taking what they have. It's already working, but they've got to find a way to make it work better if they're going to scale it. It's not sustainable. What I find is a lot of times what I do is I help my clients take that and like unravel from the times earlier in their business where they said to themselves, yeah, I'm just going to do this for a little while because I think it'll make me money. Or I'm just going to do this for a little while because I think that's how it needs to be done. And then once I'm successful, once I'm making more money, I can do it my way. And there's no harm in that. That's we all have to do that at some way, shape, or form. But how can you set up your business right now, wherever you are in your stage of business, just getting started, starting to scale, or you've been in business for millions of years? Where can you take what you have and start to unravel from the things that aren't serving you now, but most importantly, where you want to go? Because there's an element of like what got you here, like leverage what works in your business and don't recreate the wheel and throw the baby out with the bathwater. Yes. And when you really want to up level your business, when you really want to do the next big thing, generally speaking, especially from a mindset perspective, what got you here really won't get you to that next level. You have created habits for no bad reason. You've created habits that served your ability to get to this point, and it's time to create new habits that will enable you to go bigger, go wider, go whatever it is that you want out of your business. And so when you give yourself the grace and space to unravel what's not working, this is something that I'm actually seeing a lot of people just naturally doing right now. There's so much change on the planet, so much change happening. And I feel that this is like, for most people, it feels like a, while it may be emotional, the people I'm talking to, and I feel like for my own pivot as well, it feels quite grounded. It's like, this is just like taking off the armor that we don't need anymore, or taking, clearing out the dust bunnies that just don't serve anymore. It's like the last layers of the thing, but before we move into that next chapter. And really I find that people are grounded more than they have been in prior, energy up level shifts. Tell me if you're feeling a mess. But I really do feel like there is so much groundedness to this. And so again, I think it's so interesting. By the way, if you want to learn more about how to create your own schedule, I did a whole masterclass workshop in July about this. So go check it out. It's in the featured section of the Facebook group. But I find that this conversation is happening a lot, not just because it's what I do, but also because it's really, I think, revisiting the way you spend your time is sort of the energy on the planet, along with a lot of other things. And I think time is like, it's intangible kind of, but like how you schedule your life is almost like the tangible representation, as I talked about in the beginning, of the way that you really want to set your priorities. So if you are changing, one of the easiest ways to facilitate your next chapter is like, what would the person in my next chapter do with their time? What would they be doing with their time? And start to find ways that you can build that into your business now. Start to find ways that you can change your schedule now, to start getting little bits of that now as you move into your next chapter. Because usually it's that, like, if you build it, they will come. Like, if you are fully booked and you want to scale your business and create more clients, it's really hard to do that because you're fully booked, right? If you're overworked and you really want to make more money and bring in more clients, what are you going to do with them? So it starts with taking a minute and finding ways to create space in your schedule. Maybe you have some clients that you don't need to work with anymore. Maybe you need to restructure your offers so that you can work with fewer clients for the same or more amount of money, right? All kinds of things. So check out that workshop. It was really, I hope it was really helpful. I put a lot of time and energy into it, and it's very much connected to this conversation. I'm going to keep talking about schedule. If that bores you, that's cool. I find it to be the easiest way to make change in your business. It's like, oh God, I really want to be the kind of person who can take a month off. Okay, Laura, schedule it. Oh, I guess I'm going to have to start talking to people about, and this is a conversation I had with myself. Guess I'm going to need to now start talking to my clients and my team about taking that time off and what that's going to look like, and creating that, designing that now, and just doing it, right? And my Portugal example is actually much simpler and easier than some other things. Sometimes it requires your ability to unravel and pull back, but my offers and the way that I structured my coaching agreements did not support me taking a whole month off until 2 weeks ago. Who's in charge of my schedule? Me. Who's in charge of how I coach my clients? Me. Right? And that's not to say that this is an opportunity to shirk responsibility, not do things like pay taxes or serve your clients. Like, that's a fast track. I'm not saying go sit on the beach and tell your clients to fuck off and they don't need you. And like, that's not this, right? And most people go in the other direction. They create a dependency because that makes them feel safe. That makes them feel worthy. That makes them feel like they know where the money's coming from, whatever it is, right? Okay. I just invite you to think differently about the way you spend your time. And if you're not sure, go into the future with what is it that you really want? If you knew that you could make as much money as you want, if you knew that you could work with really great clients and really, really, really love the work that you're doing even more than you do today, and that if you already knew that was a given, just magic wand, it is so, how would you spend your free time? And how much time would you be working versus how much time would you be spending free? Like personally, I am not in a space where I want to retire from this business. Like I'm sure I will at some point, but my goal with my business is to create something, to continue to create something. It's been running for 5 years, to sustain this in a way that I don't want to retire from it. I can, and I just get to whenever I want to, but I'm not doing this work so that once I make X dollars, I'm retiring. I'm doing this work because it is my life's work and it is who I am and it is what lights me to F up. It lights me up more than giving myself the freedom to retire. I want to retire, but I actually want to have a creative schedule. I want to have what I want. My time off and my time with work feels great. If I had millions and millions and millions of dollars in the bank, this is still what I would be doing. So how can you create that for yourself? It starts with that question. Like if time and money were no issue, how would I be spending my time outside of work? And what percentage of my time outside of work would I be spending versus in? And let go of that idea that like, okay, well, I can have that goal, but I have to work towards it. And yes, you like on the one hand, yes, you do, but how can you take that ultimate goal and start implementing elements of it now? Because if you build it now, if you update your schedule now to support what you dream of in the future, it will create space for it to happen. But if you say, I want to have all these things, but I'm just going to keep doing it like this until I get there, like that doesn't most of the time work that way. So how can you unravel from the hectic schedule? How can you unravel from a client who is more demanding than you want, right? Like there are times and spaces to let go of clients, but how can you unravel from whatever dependencies or schedules or expectations that others have on you, and more importantly, that you have on you? Because when you free that shit up, you get to go enjoy your life without apology, unapologetically. And B, when you free, thank you, when you free that up, honest to God, you guys, it makes you better at what you do. Right? Because if I was serving my clients because I felt that they needed me, or if I was serving my clients because I felt that if I didn't take a vacation, their businesses would blow up, like, I'm not a very good business coach if that's the case, right? But if I was serving my clients from that perspective, how good of a coach, like what is my real potential as a coach if that's the space that I'm serving my coach from, the space that I'm serving my clients from, right? But if I unravel from what I think my expectations others have of me, what I think others' expectations are of me, right? Because we make that shit up in our head oftentimes. And I can unravel from the expectations I have of myself because of my relationship to hard work, because of my worthiness around what I think it means to be successful, do my job, right? Be responsible to others, whatever it is. When we unravel from that, there's so much more energy and space for creativity and for service. And when you can serve your clients at a deeper level, holy shit, that's what it's about. It's gonna make me cry. Like I will tell you, the better I get at coaching, the more fun I have, because the depth of the interchange between me and my clients just keeps growing. And the impact that I can have on their brains, their lives, their businesses fills me up. And it's my job, if I want to keep becoming a better and better coach over the years and keep supporting people in a greater way, whatever that means, because I don't know what I'm going to evolve into. It's my job to free myself up to go take care of the rest of me too, so that I can keep showing up for people. And so whether you're a coach or a healer or some other service provider, or if you have a product or a piece of art, it doesn't matter. Your responsibility to your craft is to leave your craft and take time off and take pauses and create that space. So again, I'm talking about travel, but I'm not talking about travel. It's whatever it is that's going on in your life or your business that will enable you to do even better by leaving, by taking your time, by having a life outside of your business, by taking a walk, like whatever that is. And for me, today's conversation, at least, that's about getting creative with your schedule. And it doesn't even have to be creative. Like, you can still work a 9 to 5. You can work like a very, like, whatever you want to do. But allow yourself the space to have seasons of priorities, seasons of time on, time off, part-time, little bit of combination of things. Get creative, mix it up, experiment. You won't know till you try it. That's the other thing. You have to live it. And if you'd like some help, I'm super excited. I mentioned this last week. I am now offering single coaching sessions. I have never in my anniversary, 5-year anniversary is coming up. I've never, ever offered that. And talking about setting up a new schedule and all the stuff behind that and what's in your way of creating a schedule that would really light you up. And that may be like a thing that you do in one fell swoop, and it may be something that you gradually move to. But talking about that is one of the greatest examples, I think, of what a single coaching session can do. And so this is just one example. If you're up leveling, if you're transitioning, if you're pivoting, if you just want to like nail down your pricing, whatever it is that's going on in your business, bring one topic to these sessions. And I am super excited to sit down with you. This is part of me creating my creative schedule. I'm super excited to sit down with you and support you. So I will pop the link here in the comments. Sessions are available starting like around the 10th, 11th, 12th of September. So book now. It's a 90-minute session plus a whole week of email support back and forth in between afterwards. So that you're not left like hanging after the session, like, what did she say about that? And like, how am I going to do this now that I'm sitting in it? So it's 90 minutes of super focused support, one-on-one coaching, and then a week's worth of fun emails back and forth with me. You can share documents. We'll do some tag team stuff online. Thank you for the heart. And I'm super excited to offer these. So I'll pop the link here in the comments. If you want to talk about your schedule in particular, that would light me up to help you start to unravel from a schedule that's not serving you and help you create a space where you can thrive. Because when you can thrive, there is no limit to what you can accomplish in your life, in your business, and the impact that you can make on the world. And that's what I'm here for. That's why I'm showing up here today. And that's why I show up for my clients every day, because I think that we all have to be out there doing our thing to the best of our abilities. Okay. Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Those of you who were here live with me, you kept me going, even though I'm not 100%. Thank you so much. I will be back. Next week is this month's workshop. It's called Rebelliously Successful. We're talking about what does it mean to be successful? What does it mean to be rebelliously successful? How to follow your fulfillment, how your fulfillment actually creates the profit and the scalability and the sustainability in your business. If you follow your fulfillment, this is my philosophy, that's actually what gets you to that next level. You're welcome, Tanisha. So join me next week, same time, same place. I will be here every Wednesday until the cows come home. I love you so much. Thanks for joining.